He called me wanting to know whether or not his possible medical malpractice matter was still timely. You want to know why I had to ask him when did the wrongdoing happen? And his response was, but I thought it applied from when I first found out about it. You want to know what this is all about and whether or not his matter was timely? Come join me for a moment as I share with you some great information. Hi, I'm Gerry Oginski. I'm a New York medical malpractice and personal injury attorney. So now he believed that his doctor was careless and caused him significant harm. He believed that his doctor violated the basic standards of medical care, causing him injury. And now he wanted to know whether or not his matter was timely. And it was his impression, his perception, that because he just found out about this injury, this problem now, that meant his matter was still timely. But in fact, it wasn't. You want to know why? Because there was nothing left inside of him. This was not a situation where he had surgery and the doctors left the surgical instrument inside of him. That's totally different. In that instance, in New York, you have what's known as from the date of discovery, a certain time period within which to bring a lawsuit. But this didn't involve somebody leaving a surgical instrument inside of him. So the question I had to ask him was, when did the wrongdoing happen? And that stopped him in his tracks for a moment, and he had to think about it because he was so focused on thinking about the fact that he just found out about this injury now and connected it to the treatment that he had years earlier. So I said, when did the wrongdoing happen? And you know what he said to me? 5 years earlier. I said, okay, now that we have that down, did you continue to see and treat that doctor for the same problem and the same complaint that you originally went to him for? He said, no, I only went to him for a couple of visits. I said, so your treatment ended about 5 years earlier? Yes, it did. I said, then I can't help you. He said, why not? I said, the time limit within which you have to bring a lawsuit against a private doctor or private hospital here in New York is 2.5 years from the date of the wrongdoing, not from the date that you discover the wrongdoing occurred. That's a huge, huge difference. He couldn't understand that. He was getting so angry and so upset because I'm giving him information that tells him that his matter is clearly not timely anymore. There's nothing I can do to help him, and it doesn't matter what happened to him. He kept trying to tell me, hey, Mr. Oginski, let me tell you what happened. It doesn't matter what type of injury you suffered. It doesn't matter what horrible things the doctor did or didn't do. The reality is that if you do not bring a lawsuit within the time frame that the law requires, you can't go forward. And I don't want to take up your time by having you tell me all the specific details that occurred to you and all the wrongdoings that occurred to you and all the injuries that you suffered as a result of that. You want to know why? It's because I can't help you. Once that time limit has passed, there is nothing whatsoever that I can do to help. That's why I asked him whether or not he continued to see the same doctor for the same problem and the same complaint that he originally went to him for. In some cases, it might be possible, it might be possible to extend that time in which you have to file your lawsuit if you continue to go back to the same doctor for the same problem and he treated you for the same condition continuously, and then we can go back and look at your medical records page by page to determine whether or not you have what's known as continuous treatment, which may extend the time that you have to file a lawsuit. But once he told me that he was seen 5 years earlier and didn't go back to the doctor beyond a couple of visits, that's it. Case over. I couldn't help him. So why do I share this information with you? I share it with you because you're watching this video. You want to know what the time frame is, the time limits are, to bring a lawsuit in the state of New York for your particular matter. But I have a warning for you. This is a huge, huge warning. As someone says, it's huge, really huge. You know what I'm talking about, right? Under no circumstance can you rely on the time limits I discuss in this video. And under no circumstance should you be relying on any information you find online or in a newspaper or in a magazine or somewhere else. Why? Because you might be watching this video or reading an article months, weeks, years down the road from when the time it was created. And the reality is the time limits within which you have to file a lawsuit may have changed by the time you actually learn about your problem and decide you want to bring a lawsuit. So the only way, the absolute only way to know whether or not you have a valid case, whether your matter is timely, is to pick up the phone and speak to an attorney. Call me. I can answer your legal questions. You know, this is something I do every single day, and I'd love to chat with you. So that's the only time you can rely on information to determine whether or not your matter is still timely. You can reach me at 516-487-8207 or by email at Gerry, Gerry, at oginski-law.com. That's it for today's video. I'm Gerry Oginski. Have a wonderful day.